so I'm Scott.
And I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. So, Don, I want to start today's show a little differently today. And I don't know if the young lady that made this comment last week is on yet, but I want to bring this out first. If you can see this, Don, show us the face. Okay. Grizzly Don Lawrence is no longer shaved, is no longer got a beard. So, on the advice of Kathy Wilkowitz, I don't know, Kathy, if you're watching yet, doesn't look like it. Chad Gross in the house, what's going on? Catherine Cotton, how are you? So, I don't know if she's out there listening yet, but Don decided to shave for today's show. So I wanted to make sure that was a point that we talked about first.
Why did she say I should? Did she say I should shave?
Because you looked rough.
Oh, rough. Okay.
I look rough every day. I mean, you know, Tom Winslow wanted to be in a suit. Tom Winslow said, Bergeron, you better have a suit. I wear a polo, a Michigan polo, and a pair of khakis. That's how I roll. So you're supposed to be the guy that dresses up and looks sharp, not me.
Thank you. I try my best.
So that's
okay.
that. All right, so I'm Scott Bergeron.
And I'm Don Lawrence. And we are realtors at Century 21 Kern and Oberski here in Overcast today, anyways, Metro Detroit area. And we have a show focused on value today. And we want to start off with...
So we got a question. I got a question from a friend of mine who's a vet. So, and he called me on the phone and he said this. He said, Scott, he says, actually called me coach because I coached wrestling for a long period of time. He says, Coach, do you think it's a time I can use my VA loan? Do you think I could? It's a time I should be able to use that. And I was kind of confused by what he said. I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean? And he said, well, I heard that realtors don't really like VA loans. So it maybe puzzled me a little bit. Like I kind of shook my head a little bit, you know. So and then you and I talked about it a little bit. Kind of Kenny Ciantar in the house. What's going on? Miami Dolphins, baby. I'm just kidding. So we talked about it a little bit, and we want to help dispel some of the myths about VA loans and kind of explain how they're different. So that's the first thing that we want to do. So why don't you go ahead and start with number one, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, the first thing is it's a VA. The benefit of a VA loan for a veteran, and thank you for your service once again, is it's a zero down payment. Typically, the minimum amount is an FHA loan, and that's 3.5%. So on a $100,000 house, that's $3,500 just for the down payment. Veteran doesn't even have to pay that. So
right. So they can. They can. Right, but they don't have to. That's a huge thing. Right. I talked to our man, Nicole, what's going on, kiddo? City Light in the house. So I talked to our man in mortgages, Mike McLaughlin from Academy Mortgage. You know Mike. Yep. So he's been on the show once. So he said usually a VA loan has got a lower interest rate too. So now you got 0% down, lower interest rate. Good things. Right?
Very beneficial.
Now there's two things that are different that might make realtors kind of leery and borrowers kind of leery. So explain one, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, there's a pest inspection, and the veteran cannot pay that. Either the seller, typically the seller will pay that. But it's only $100. It's not a big deal.
So it's not like $7 bazillion or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Because people freak out. Like I had one, and the guy's like, "Who's gonna pay for this?" Right? You know what I mean? And it's just like people go crazy on that kind of stuff.
I think the big issue with it is that it's just another inspection, and people, it's another person that has to get in the house. But it's not that big of a deal. We don't typically have termites here in Michigan, so that's a national requirement. So it's just not necessarily a big issue here at all, other than $100 fee.
Yeah.
So might be less than that.
Don, let me put it to you like this, okay? So I closed 2 VA loans last week. I closed a seller who was selling their home to a VA, to a vet, and then they also were a vet, so they got their home, VA. So I went through it twice in the matter of back to back. So it's not a big deal. So the other part of it is, though, here's the other interesting thing. They have what's called a funding fee, right?
Yep.
It's a different kind of a fee for a mortgage. It's kind of like mortgage insurance, right? Kind of. Yeah. So, but if you're disabled in any way, not 100% like property taxes, like we talked last week, okay? But if you're a disabled vet in whatever percentage, even 10%, whatever, that fee can get waived.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice feature.
So you get 0% down, lower interest rate, can possibly waive the funding fee, and the only the crazy hang up is a $100 pest inspection.
It makes no sense to me. I don't know why agents are sometimes leery of it.
Yeah,
I think it's just inexperience, really.
I guess I put it to you like this: if you are thinking about using your veteran benefit of a VA loan, your realtor's job is to sell that offer, that mortgage, that loan product to another agent.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. Yes.
Pretty easy.
Yep.
It can be done pretty easy. It's not hard. So the question, the gentleman asked me the question, the answer is yes. You should use your VA loan now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. I want to touch base on something. You go blue. There you go. Robert Gregory in the house. A friend of mine, Tom Witzel, asked this question. He wants to know when mortgage rates are going to 0%. I got this. So listen to this. My sister called me from Texas. Not my older sister, my younger sister called me from Texas. I hadn't talked to her in a bit, and I love her very much. The first, hey, are mortgage rates going down? Should I refinance my house? Like, how about, hello, I love you, I miss you. But no, I get, hey, are rates going down? Should I refinance my house? So I talked to McLaughlin, the mortgage guy I trust. He said this is what he told me Friday. He told me this when the rates first got cut. He said that they're higher than they were all of February. They went down yesterday to about 3, if you got real good credit, to like 3,625, right? And he said today they're not, they're kind of in that same place. So folks, just because, and Don explained this to him, explain what if the Fed cuts a rate that they put out in public, that's not a mortgage deal, right?
That has nothing to do with long-term mortgage rates. It's more for the lending between banks, which does affect short-term loans like maybe cars, things like that, but not a mortgage. That does not affect it at all.
Right. So yeah, like I don't know how I get that question. Are mortgage rates, is the mortgage rates low and stuff like that? The best guy to ask that question is a mortgage person, but like I said, I had to share that one. My sister Jamie called me. Should I refinance my house?
But mortgage rates, if you look over the last 50, 60 years, mortgage rates are extremely low, and they've been low for a long time.
Don, I want you to do me a favor. So Kathy Wilkowitz is watching right now. Can you give her the no beard look? Because she said you had to lose the beard. Kathy, I see
It's
you.
gone.
I see you. So the beard is gone. So thanks for that little piece of advice. Doug Simpson in the house.
Hi, Denise.
What's going on? So, all right. So let's talk about big topics for the day, right? So the question that you get most as a realtor, what's my house worth? What's my house worth, right? And there's two real people that have to decide what your house is worth, yeah? So
Or help you. Yeah.
So who do you think?
Yeah. The realtor and an appraiser.
Okay, so a realtor, as realtors, here's what we do. You say, hey Scott, hey Don, what's my house worth? There she is. Hi Kathy.
So we started off asking you questions about your house. What do you have here? What updates do you have? How big is it? What is the construction made out of? What style is it? We take all that information and do a search on it. And typically there's nuances in the neighborhood, so we want to make sure we have your neighborhood in mind when we're doing that, pulling out what we call comparables. It's a CMA. You've heard that term, I'm sure, and stands for comparative market analysis. And that's what an agent does. And they take all those homes and from experience and being in the open market, looking at houses that are currently on the market, who would be your competition, you come up with a value that your house should possibly sell for. But it's typically a range.
Yeah, so folks, and I explain to people like this. Jeff Darwish in the house, man. Now we really got to know our P's and Q's, right? So it comes down to this way that a market analysis works. You're going to look at 3 different types of homes, okay? You're going to look at active homes, that's your competition, right? You're going to look at pending homes, that's kind of where the market is. You got to make sure you know what the house accepted for. You got to call agents and find that out instead of just using whatever numbers out there, because that's the list price. And then 3, you look at what's sold. So sold again is in the past. So you got your competition, actives, pendings, where the market's at right now, and then sold, okay? And then you try to give people a price per square foot, like 120 bucks a square or 80 bucks a square foot, those kind of things, and you figure out a range. I'll give clients a range. It's your house is worth from this to this, and then let them choose because they're pretty much the boss anyway. So that's what you do. Zach Wilkowitz in the house.
Right. Give you the data so that you can help make an informed decision on how much you want to ask for your house.
Right. So let's talk appraisers. Now, the appraisers aren't looking in the past, yes?
Exactly. They're looking in the past, what has sold. So, for example, this year, any year, really, from the winter to the spring, the market could be different, and it usually is because the spring really picks up. So, the values are trending up, and the appraiser is looking in the past, in the winter and the fall of last year. So, the numbers can sometimes be not match between the appraiser and what you agreed to sell your home for.
Right. And appraisers, I mean, they have kind of rules of thumb of things that they focus on, things that they have numbers for. Like, I'll give you an example. So typically the number I hear for, and again, don't hold me to this, it's just kind of a rule of thumb. For a half bath, the appraiser gives you about $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah, it's not a lot. Yeah.
So stuff like that. The number that sticks to me that kind of drives me crazy is they don't give you a price per square foot. Like, let's say your house is worth $120 price per square foot through a CMA, right? Okay. So let me use a different example. So let's say you have a 1,000 square foot home and I have 1,100. For that extra 100 square feet, they're not giving you $120 a square. They're not doing that. They give you, like, I've seen low as 20. I've seen like 50 to 60. So it's not the same number, right? And I know they have reasons for doing that and things like that, but it's hard when you sit down with somebody and say, well, you know, this house is a little bit bigger than mine or a little bit smaller. You really got to think about that. Appraisers definitely do some different things. Heather Markey, your husband, does a way better job at teching this out than we do. He does. We're trying our best, though.
Doing our best. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's something you really got to take into account. Now let me ask you another question. So tell me the difference between a FHA appraiser and a regular conventional appraiser.
FHA appraiser will sometimes cite repairs. They're looking at the same thing. The number one job of an appraiser is to make that number work that a buyer and a seller have agreed to. In a fair open market, without duress, a buyer is going to offer a certain price and the seller is going to accept a certain price. And the appraiser's job is to make whatever that number is work, but they have to have data to do that. So as long as there's data in the multiple listing service, the same one we use, they should be able to do it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't have the data, or they pull comparables out of the area that might not be in that exact area.
Yeah, so let me ask you another question then. So do you meet appraisers?
Not always.
Okay, so
typically no.
I try to, just for the fact, like you said, like I try to do their job for them, and I know that sounds ridiculous, okay? But I would rather them choose or have comparables that I know of, right, than just try to choose something from somewhere else. Now think about this though, for value, folks, you gotta realize value there's all kinds of variables in that. Like what school district you're in, right? Or what, like I had one that there was train tracks behind it, so they took money off for train tracks.
Sure, yeah.
There's all, I mean, like they have all kinds of things. I was thinking about one today that the biggest thing they take off for or add for is condition, right? So the appraiser has lots of latitude. He could take off or add for condition.
Right. Yes.
So that's kind of a crazy thing. You're empowering somebody. Again, they're professional. I get it, right? A very good friend of mine and a very good mentor of mine is an appraiser. So he's a very sharp guy. But that's giving them a lot of power to decide what the house is worth, right? So that's what I would say with that. Now, answer this question for me, Don. Tell me about this. Tell me about, do you think people need to get an appraisal? Because I get this a lot. Should I order an appraiser or have an appraiser come out before you guys come out?
I don't think so. I don't think they need one before you put it on the market, because they're not really working with a certain number in mind. For example, I have a listing out in Wyandotte, and I went out. It's in a trust, so the trustee asked me to do a market analysis. I went and did a market analysis. Told him it's worth in the 90s, 90 around that price range is where it needed to be. There was a range that I had for him. And he had to do an appraisal because of the trust for Bank of America would like that so that they have an idea. And he found an appraiser, and the appraiser went out there and valued it at $129,000. And it's been on the market over 90 days now, and we've dropped it twice, and we still don't have it sold. So sometimes it typically may not work out, and in this case, it did not work out.
Right.
So, but he had to do it to cover his butt, and here we are. It's on the market for a long period of time, and buyers are thinking, what's wrong with that house? And the problem is it was overpriced.
Right. So let's talk it this way then. Let's kind of go back to this ground. What if the appraisal comes in low? I mean, what are you gonna do? So I've had this happen before, and I don't know if you had before. So you try to get what's called a reconsideration of values. A gentleman in our office came to me the other day and he asked, what do you do about this? And well, you got to get a reconsideration of value. And the hard part is you're basically telling the appraiser they don't know their job. That's basically what you're telling them, right? Yeah. So it's a pretty. I mean, like it's not a good slope, right?
You don't want to be in that position.
You don't want to do that too many times. It pisses too many people off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I guess a couple of things that could be, like, I'll give you an example. So I had one on Cornell in Dearborn, okay? Just north of Dartmouth, right? So it's in Dearborn. Yeah. Appraiser goes, yeah, no, this house in Dearborn Heights on Cornell is the same. Whoa. You do not know, my friend, that Dartmouth is the cutoff for Dearborn Heights. those are two different values. Even if it's only, I mean, it's a little bit, it's not $1 billion, but it's still a lot.
It's a
right?
different price.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
stuff like that, an out of area appraiser,
Mhm.
right? It just, I just seen sometimes they just do, like, I don't like to let them guess.
Mhm.
I just don't like that to happen, so.
And it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
So, what else we got?
What's up next?
Yeah.
What's up next is the spotlight, city spotlight.
So the city spotlight is Royal Oak this week.
Royal Oak, Michigan.
So, guys, there's lots going on in the Royal Oak market.
It's a hot
okay?
market, Scott.
It's definitely a hot market. There's a lot going on. So, we'll kind of break down the actives, the pendings, the solds, average price, stuff like that. If you want to hit the bar scene out there, definitely an amazing city. So, now tell me about actives.
And good restaurants, too.
Yeah. Well, you can't go to any right now, so keep going.
So, that's true. So, currently on the market, there are 97 homes.
Yep.
And 67 condos, which we don't always highlight condos because there's such a small minority in some of the cities we do. But in this case, with Royal Oak having that many condos, we thought we'd throw that in there too.
Yeah, so we've got, as far as pendings go, there's 117 homes pending,
Mhm.
and there's 32 condos. So a lot less pending condos, it seems like.
Yeah, there's a lot.
The ratio is, right? So as far as sale price, what did you find average
It's a
sale
hot
price?
market. For homes, it's $374,000, and for condos, the average sales price is $306,000.
Okay. And then solds, I found 98 sold homes and 21 condos.
Mhm.
So Royal Oak is definitely a happening
And
market.
that's in the last 30 days.
Yeah. So I will tell you this. I found one. Listen to this. I found one condo in Royal Oak that was 47,000. Had to be like an apartment or something, right?
Box,
Like a
maybe studio,
or,
yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
a stuff. It was like a box or something like that. It said Royal Oak. It's probably right on the border or something like that. So.
5th floor stairway, maybe.
Yeah. So, folks, do you have any questions for us? Anybody throwing questions out there? I see that Mr. Charles Markey is watching, and our video quality is good, so we appreciate that. Deborah, how are you, kiddo? Everything going well? So, what kind of questions? Yeah, we'll open up for questions for a couple more minutes. We want to talk about next week. So next week, you may see us on split screen. You may.
We have no idea what's going to happen next.
So we don't. I mean, we know there's lots of tension out there in the general public right now, and as you can see, we're kind of separated a little bit. So we're trying to adhere to that as well. But
we're working on our social distance.
Yeah, social distancing, right. So Don and I may be on split screen if we can figure out the technology tomorrow. We don't know. We just want you guys to be safe. So check us out next week. All right. I'm Scott.
And I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate.